Alrighty, well, welcome back to On the Couch here at Manhattan Beach Toyota. I'm Brad Jacobson, and behind the counter is JP, and today we're excited. We have like Mr. Adventure here with us on the couch. Slater, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
One of my favorite posts of yours, we're going to show it to the people really quick so they know what I'm talking about. You jumped out of a plane naked.
Yeah.
And landed on a crowded, touristy beach.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What's the story?
First of all,
is your mom watching this?
First of all, sorry, Mom, I gotta say. No, she knows all about this. She was, my poor mom. So kind of the story behind this is, I mean, you can go and look, and I posted about it, but didn't really give much of an explanation. So this is kind of an exclusive, behind the scenes story of what.
It's only on the couch.
Of what,
this is what happens when you're on the couch.
Kind of what went down, yeah. So I got hit up by the tourism board in Panama, Visit Panama, a few years back. They'd reached out and said, hey, me and my other buddy, one of my good skydive buddies, they said, hey, do you guys want to come down here and basically surf and ride dirt bikes and skydive and just do fun stuff for a week and promote our country for tourism? And we're like, no, that sounds horrible. Yeah. So literally within 2 weeks, we had tickets booked, and they flew my buddy and I down there. And my buddy, who I went with, had some really close friends and spent a lot of time in Boca del Toro. We kind of started planning what we wanted to do down there, and one of the main things we wanted to do was, because we're going to a foreign country, was skydive naked onto a beach, and
did they know? Did the tourism board know?
They had no idea.
Okay.
They had no idea. So this was off the.
It's not quite what we had in our minds, Slater.
So the tourism board was like, hey, we're gonna take care of all this stuff exclusively what you guys want to do for promoting us, and we came to them and we said, hey. We'd been jumping all day doing stunt stuff for them, and it was becoming sunset, and I'm like, dude, I told my buddy, I'm like, we got to do a naked jump. This is legendary. We were staying at Nitro City in Panama, which is Travis Pastrana's Nitro Circus.
Right.
Basically, they bought kind of this big sandbar and built this crazy resort on it, but there's a bunch of resorts around it, so there's a lot of people. And I was like, dude, we got to do one more jump, but we got to go naked. We just got to send it. This is be so legendary at sunset, right? And so he's like, I don't know. It's kind of like, what if we get arrested? I'm like, dude, we're in Panama. We just got to do it. It's our last day.
Right.
And so we went to the tourism board, to the production team. We said, hey guys, this is what we want to do. We think it's going to be really epic. And before we even said anything, they're like, you're not jumping naked. And finally we talked them into it to the point where they would let us go do it. But we had to pay for it. It was off their record.
Okay, yeah.
So this wasn't with them. So it was officially they were not involved at all with this. And so we called the pilot up like, hey, do you have enough fuel to do one more flight? He's like, in his Panamanian accent, he's kind of like, oh, I think so. We didn't really know. It was kind of sketchy. Yeah. So
you're gonna die naked in a plane.
Yeah. So we're like, he's like, I think what we translated. He didn't speak very good English. So what we kind of translated from is he thinks he can make one more flight to altitude. So we're like, all right, good enough for us. Let's do it. So
we got parachutes.
So we get there, and the whole thing was, how do we wear our rig? Or a rig is what basically the skydiving backpack. It's the container that holds the parachute, so we call it a rig. How do we wear our rig and our harness with naked? How's that? First of all, it's a safe. How's it gonna feel?
Is there wind chap here?
All these questions are going through our mind of the male genitalia. How are things gonna are we gonna be good in that department? Those were definitely kind of concerns of ours. And anyways, we get our rigs on. And we're at the airport getting set up. So we slipped boxers, our underwear, over our harness.
Right.
So that we were naked with our rig on. So we slipped boxers over our harness because we had to walk to the plane, and there's other people there. It's like a little local airport.
Kids.
So we're walking over there with these boxer briefs on. Me and my buddy, we're kind of trying to be respectful, and we didn't tell the pilot, by the way, what we were doing.
Right.
So we get on the flight, and he's kind of doing his checkouts, and he's got his headphones on, and he looks back. He's like, whoa! He's like, two naked dudes with parachutes on in the back of my plane. He's like, and didn't even say anything. It was just like, yeah, boys, all right, it's gonna be fun. I think he was pretty fired up too.
Yeah.
Guy. And so at this point, it's about 6:30, 6:45. I believe that time of the year the sun was setting around 7. Usually to altitude it's about 15 minutes. So we were gonna get there, right? I mean, we were pushing already, so we were kind of having to go. We get going, we get up, and we're sitting in this plane, the door's open, so it's freezing cold. And we're sitting there shivering, just naked. And we're in the Cessna, so we're in this tiny plane, and me and my buddy are just snuggled up to each other because we're freezing cold. So there's basically two fully grown adult males, kind of half naked, cuddling each other in an airplane over the coast of Panama. And here's where it starts getting crazy is, remember I told you guys earlier that the language barrier was a little bit little stiff there. So he originally had thought that we had said, hey, we want to do a jump, but we want to do a sunset tour around the peninsula. He started taking us with a little bit of gas that we had on this like sightseeing tour, and he's like kept pointing out the window, and we're like, what's he pointing at? He's like, oh, this is a beautiful area here, and there's a museum here, and this is whatever, sightseeing tour. Yeah. Finally turns around, we're like, we tap him on the shoulder, like, hey, when can we jump? Like, when are we? He's like, I spaced out. He's like, I'll get you over there now. He's like, let's do it. We're like, dude, oh my gosh. So we were in the plane for 50 minutes. Naked,
cold,
shivering on this like sightseeing tour over Panama. And so we had jumped. I think by the time we got over the DZ, we couldn't even see it. We could see the lights from the hotel. It was basically dark. Right. And you'll see in the photo, I brightened it up a little bit, but the sun's gone. I'm blurry because the GoPro can't keep up with the low light. It's basically dark out. So the shots are not blurry, but we crawled on the wing, and we're standing there, and we're going about 90 miles an hour. He slowed down to, and like junk's flopping everywhere already. Like it's already, you're just like, what are we doing? This is so painful already. We haven't even jumped yet. Like this is not safe. And and we gave our call 3, 2, 1, and we just backflipped, sent it out of there. He did like 16 gainer, like big rotations, and we just like did this huge jump, and we leveled out, and I had my GoPro, and I went into like a sit fly. So basically, for people that don't know what that is basically think about sitting in a chair with your feet down to earth. So you're basically, it's like you're just sitting. So I'm in this sit fly position, and just it's so painful. I'm telling you. So we're at terminal velocity is 120 miles an hour. So I'm falling on my altimeter. When I landed, I got up to 180 because I'm not wearing clothes, so there's no resistance. So I'm falling.
Yeah, so like a swimmer.
180 miles an hour with your parts just out in the open can be extremely.
Was there a whipping? Was there?
It was very whiplashy. Just to say the least.
How to say that?
It was a very traumatic experience, to say the least. But at the same time, you're freezing cold, so you're a little bit numb. You have the adrenaline rush. You're a little bit numb from that. So those things helped. But my harness, as I was in sit flight, normally when you're in sit flight, your harness slips down towards your knees. Right. It doesn't do that as much when you're wearing clothes when you're skydiving because they're kind of gripped up, right? Since I was naked, my harness was slipping down towards my knees, which is to deploy dangerous. You want it snugged up tight in your crotch area to catch you and hold you. Obviously, it's your harness. So as I literally stopped my GoPro midair, and I'm thinking about all this stuff, and I'm checking my altimeter like I'm all good, and I realized before I deploy, my harness is slipped down, and I'm like, oh, beep, whatever. I gotta fix this. So I'm sitting there naked on my back, free falling, like adjusting my harness midair. As I'm adjusting it, I'm getting it, I'm on my back, and I'm looking up, and I see my buddy under parachute already. Oh. And we usually deploy around 3,000, 3,500 feet, sometimes depending on where, 4,000, just to have safe time if you have to go to that reserve, if you have a problem. It takes roughly 800 to 1,000 feet for the parachute to open. So I'm doing the math in my head. He's already under canopy flying while I'm still free falling, meaning he deployed at 3,500, which means he must be at 2,500, which means I'm about 2,000 feet. Yeah. So I'm like, oh crap, I roll over, deploy, parachute's open by like 1,500 feet, which is so low. Yeah. So now I have barely any time to like figure out where we're landing. Right. And so it's like pitch black, and there's like, on the beach, we could see where our hotel had these 2 lights, these like spotlights, so we knew where it was. On the beach next to it, there's like a fire going, and there's like a live band and stuff. So there's all these people. We had no idea this event was.
You're part of the show.
We had no idea this event was happening, and we're coming in, and we think we've like cleared the people. Right. And as we're landing, you can start seeing like the lights on people, and I'm like flying through a crowd of people, like, woo! Here comes the big naked American guy, and all these people are just like deer in the headlights. Just think about that. You're sitting there sipping on a cocktail, vacation in Panama, and these 2 big naked American dudes come flying by you, junk hanging out and everything. And you're just like, I literally saw people not even people just like, well, I guess we're in Panama. Like, didn't even care. Like,
this is what happens in Panama.
This is so weird. We don't even know what it's like to say. Like, we're not going to take a photo. This is like, and then we'd become really good friends with one of the waitresses at our hotel, because we'd been eating all of our meals there for the whole week. Right. And so she knew what we were doing, because we told her. So she had saw us land and had gotten a tablecloth off of to come out and wrap us up, because we had to walk through the hotel, to get our clothes and to pack our parachutes. So she's like wrapping us in these white tablecloths. We're like walking through. There's people sitting eating dinner. We're just like, hey guys, and ended up all the photos were blurry, and except for one. Yeah. And I posted that shot, and people were just pretty baffled. And
That thing was
this
awesome.
Instagram, Naked in Nature, I think, reposted it. And they were like a big account. It's like all these people on like, Mount Everest, like naked, like posing. And
there you
I
are,
got my
jumping
shot
out
in
playing.
there, so.
Nice. You could have done the Sports Illustrated. They have the naked
right,
series.
yeah. Hey,
maybe next time, Sports Illustrated.
If you guys are watching and you guys want to do a naked shoot at 14,000 feet, I'm all in.
You picked the Hermosa Beach room. Why did we go with Hermosa Beach?
So we're in Hermosa right now in this room because my dad's 5th generation Hermosa. So him, his sister, and his brother are all 5th generation. So our family's been in Hermosa Beach since it was, kind of started, since it was, sand dunes. So,
right.
So my family's been in Hermosa for generations, and my brother and I were the first generation not to grow up in Hermosa Beach because we grew up in Hawaii, but we came to Hermosa doing junior lifeguards every summer because my dad had done that growing up. So he knew how special that program was, and he wanted my brother and I to have those experiences. So we grew up coming and spending the summers in Hermosa Beach, and I've always had good friends here. And so Hermosa is kind of close to home, and the same house my dad grew up in is still on 16th. On the walk court, so
that doesn't happen much anymore.
Yeah, I mean it's rare to find those original.
There's
homes.
a bulldozer right outside waiting.
It's right next to these big modern mansions on either side. So the new owners that originally bought it from his family still have it, and they want to keep it how it is, just because it's kind of a legendary old house. So it's cool to still go down there and see that, and be able to see that. Like my dad grew up, with being able to walk down to the beach and surf on 16th, and my grandfather ran a ding repair shop, and was running ding repair for all the South Bay guys, and Greg Knoll, and
what's his name? Your grandfather's name?
His name is John Trout.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is something that we do with all of our guests here on the couch. What is the third picture, most recent picture that's on your photo roll? And can you please show us?
Third. Oh, this might get a little dangerous. Let's see. Just in my camera roll, just what's on there. Oh yes, super exciting. Can I show the camera?
Yeah.
So I just spent the last 2 weeks, the off time I have, I've been remodeling my bathroom. I've been I've been in my place for 2 years, and everything's updated. My bathroom's still like the old, it's got like the brown countertops, and it's just kind of outdated. And so there's a picture I sent actually to my friend of my old faucet from my bathroom that I chucked out. It's in my trash can. And
well, one of the great things about that photo is, if you know Slater, if you follow him on Instagram or anything else social media, all his photos are these insane things. He's jumping out of planes. He's rafting here or riding this or surfing that. And so it was the funniest thing is that it's a sink.
That's pretty funny.
I'm sure all the other photos in there
it's like I'll be honest with you guys. So there's a photo of my old sink in my trash can, and the next picture is me skydiving out of a hot air balloon. So I mean it's like remodel bath. I mean it's just So that's it. It kind of brings me to a funny point, and people are like, oh, so you live this crazy awesome life. How do I do that? I'm like. Yeah, I live this great life, but I'm still a normal person too. I'm still in there wrenching on, doing plunging on my hands and knees, freaking sticking my hands in toilets, trying to make things figured out, and it's just, so, you got to do the dirty work too to
get the fun.
Stuff.
I came to know you as an SUP guy, a racer. And then as I became to know you more and following you on Instagram, this guy does everything. There's nothing that you haven't tried, or is there something that you haven't tried that you want to try?
SUP is stand-up, especially the stand-up racing side, is really kind of my meat and potatoes. That's my background, and that's how we met. I really give credit to stand-up paddling and stand-up paddle racing and surfing as kind of what's thrust me into everything else. I have to give all the credit there, because if it wasn't for my career in stand-up paddle racing and being able to travel the world and meet the people I've met, I wouldn't have been able to, get these opportunities with these brands, or get into skydiving, or get into these other things. So stand-up's really giving me those opportunities, which is great. But I really just love to do everything. For me, it's about staying busy. I get bored super easily. So I have to be doing something, or the next great thing.
I know that very well.
Yeah,
Myself, same way.
For sure. So, so for me, back to your question, something that I haven't tried yet that I really want to do, it'd be really fun to get a paramotor, and it's this giant kind of fan motor that you put on a parachute.
Okay. To
put it in simple terms.
Right.
And you can kind of fire them up and just I don't really think you have to have a license or FAA and anything. You can just kind of extend it. So
wait, do you jump out of a plane with this thing?
No.
How do you get it to go? Or you just from the ground?
So basically, to make it as understandable as possible, you strap into basically a skydive harness, and you have this giant parachute, right? And on the back of it is, I wouldn't say like a lawnmower motor, but it's like a little 2-stroke engine basically.
Right. Is it like a small, you know, those swamp?
Yes,
boats?
yeah, very similar.
So smaller.
Yeah, so if you picture a swamp boat with like a fan motor,
right.
It's pretty much the same thing. It's in a cage, so obviously it's for safety. But it's this big. It just looks like a big industrial fan that you'd have in a gym or a room.
Right.
And you strap the thing on your back, and you kind of get a running start on flat ground. Fire the thing up, it kind of spurts out some smoke, and you get going. So, yeah, my buddy Trevor Jacobson just he just got one, and I guess on Craigslist, and like no idea how to use it, no experience with
Is
flying,
he still
no
okay?
pilot's license.
Is he still
He's alive as far as I know,
which
is good. I should probably shoot him a text to see, because I know he was flying it the other day.
Oh yeah.
But he just gets up there and sends it, and it looks like I'm like so jealous.
I bet so.
Right?
If anybody out there works for the FAA, please comment below.
Yeah,
if
let
this
us
is
know what
legal
the
or
rules
not.
are on this, because I really want to buy one. I might do it.
We don't want Slater to get arrested. We like him.
Just don't tell my mom and if she's listening to this right now, she'll get really mad. She told me I don't need any more action sports in my life. Like I'm good.
What's the one sport that you've tried that you go, I'm never doing that again? That's just nuts.
I haven't tried this yet, but I already know it would scare the hell out of me, and I know it's really dangerous, but base jumping. So that's different for people that don't know what the difference is. Skydiving is basically, obviously, you're out of an airplane. You're usually jumping out at about 14,000 feet is the altitude. That's usually like 50 seconds to a minute of free fall. And the main difference between skydiving and base jumping is skydiving, you have 2 parachutes. So you have your main and you have a reserve. So you basically have, 2 shots at getting it right, to say the least. And then and base jumping is 1 parachute, low altitude jumps.
Right.
So anything from 150, 200 feet that low to 1,000 feet or 800 feet.
What is an Instagram account that everybody should be following?
Honestly, for me, my heart is in the environment and conservation stuff a lot.
Right.
So one of my favorite accounts that I've been following for a few years is Sea Shepherd.
Okay.
They post some of the most rad photos of marine life, wildlife. So for me, I'm such like a geek and like conservationist in that sense that like I really enjoy like looking at that stuff. So.
All right. So in the South Bay, you're hungry. You've been running around all morning. Where would be your #1 place to stop and grab a really good lunch?
Ooh, that's tough. For me, I gotta go with Good Stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Good Stuff is their breakfast burrito.
Which one? Do you have a preference, or are you just
the one? I'm living in Redondo, edge of Redondo and Torrance now. So so the one in Redondo.
Do you watch Netflix? And if so, is there a series that you're?
I don't want to be that guy that's like, I don't watch TV. Get outside and play. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't watch that much TV. But when it comes to Netflix, like my diehard show is Stranger Things, 100%.
Yeah.
Like the 3rd season should be coming out now. It normally comes out like around Halloween, October. But I guess they're having some, I've been like Googling, like reading up, but I guess they're having some like production stuff going on. So it's not releasing until 2019.
Oh no.
So we got to wait a long time. So I'm stressing out a little bit.
If you could only choose one sport to do for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
Surfing.
Surfing.
100%.
And you started surfing, correct?
Grew up
in
surfing.
Hawaii.
Grew up surfing, yeah. So some kind of short background. I was actually born on the panhandle of Florida on this little, basically sandbar island called Pensacola Beach. My parents were both surfers. My dad, obviously growing up in Hermosa Beach, was a big surfer, and my family's been surfers for generations. So he got my brother and I on surfboards at a really young age, and like basically as soon as I could walk, he had us surfing. And so surfing was my first love, my first passion. I started there, and then when I was 11 years old, the family just got impounded by hurricanes. We took 5 direct hits, and my parents were just completely over it, and we were over it, and it was just really stressful, like a hard time in the family. And surfing is my #1 passion. It's my favorite thing to do, and that's something I plan on doing to the day I die. Like,
nice.
I love surf. There's nothing like getting on a wave and letting the ocean push you on.
Right.
It's a pretty amazing experience. So.
I almost keep stepping on your toe every 2 seconds, and the thing looks mangled. What happened, man? That thing looks brutal.
yeah. My a little bit ago, my parents, I was out helping them. I was at their place. They have a camper that they put in their truck, and they're like big gypsies. So I was helping them load their camper. We were uncovering it at storage. So I got up on this ladder, and the roof of the camper is probably, when it's sitting on the ground, is probably 16 feet, 16, 17 feet. And so I'm up there. We uncover the whole thing on the last corner, and I'm standing on the tip top of the ladder, so it's like kind of teetering on, kind of on a slope. And it was stuck on the rack, so I like kind of give it a little jolt, and like ladder slipped out, fell from the top, like full down. I was wearing my sandals, and so the crossbars on the ladder where it folds up,
right,
the corner of that, my pinky toe got stuck in it. And my 200 pounds of body weight fell.
I think everyone just hit the stop button.
As
Watch
it
this
stayed,
video.
yeah, as
I
it
don't wanna hear
stayed
anymore.
there. So I was basically, all my body weight was put on my pinky toe.
Right.
And so it essentially, it didn't rip it off, thankfully, but
Right.
it was a pretty gruesome, deep tear.
Yeah.
I landed on my feet somehow and just started skipping on my foot, and it instantly knew, like my mom thought I had died. She's like, and my dad's like, we were just happy nothing. I didn't break a bone or something. I mean, people die falling off ladders.
yeah.
Like, that's a normal thing.
Right.
So
Well, Slater, thank you so much for
Appreciate
coming
it.
in.
Yeah,
it's always
thank
a
you.
pleasure talking to you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Keep following us there on social media, and you can watch these episodes as we bring them out. Thanks for being on the couch.
Thanks, guys.
All right.